Today, we will be collecting cards for the original 151 Pokemon. However, to make this a challenge, we will be getting the first artwork for each of those Pokemon, meaning every single card will be vintage, coming from base set, fossil, and jungle. But we'll also take base set 2 and legendary treasures because it's the same artwork. We want to visit as many game stores as possible, so we will be limiting the amount of cards that we can buy in each store to 5. We're going to visit a lot of stores all across the US. This is the Kanto Pokedex Challenge. To begin the challenge, like Professor Oak did with Red back in the original Pokemon game, Gabe will be giving me a card as a starter Pokemon. He'll let me choose between Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. And since I've always been a fan of water types, I went with Squirtle. So now that we have our first card, we need a binder. To stay on theme, I went with this Pokemon themed binder by Ultra Pro. Not a sponsor of the channel, but hey, call me. So anyway, I added it to the binder, got my stuff ready, and we set out on our grand adventure. The first city that we'll be hunting in is Miami, Florida. And what better place to start the adventure than our hometown shop, MBM Gaming. As soon as we got to the store, we told Brian that we were looking for vintage Pokemon cards. Lucky for us, he had a whole box ready for us. So we started to look.
Wait a minute. What do we got? Oh, there you go. Kabuto.
Gabe was able to find a Kabuto, which actually gave us a lot of hope that there would be more things in the box.
That's pretty cool.
That's cool, but there is an earlier Articuno, so unfortunately we can't use this one. It has to be the original. Yeah.
Ooh, that's so cool. Unfortunately, not the original one, and that's not the original Charizard, obviously.
Oh, but we're getting closer though. We're getting warmer to what we need.
I can smell it.
Like we're finding stuff like this, which is from like Evolutions, which is the same artwork, which is kind of what we want to do because we want the original artwork, but we don't want to get it from like something like Evolutions because that would be too easy.
Fossil base set Pidgey somewhere around here.
There's one right back there.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, is that?
Base set 2.
Okay.
That counts.
Yeah, this is what we need. All right, Brian, we were able to find 2 cards. We got the Kabuto and the Pidgey.
Brian had one more surprise for us. He had a base set 2 Poliwrath, which we were really happy to pick up. We got our first 3 cards at MBM Gaming, so we put them in the binder and we set out for the next store.
So we just finished our first stop, MBM Gaming. We were able to pick up 3 cards. So next we're gonna head over to Tease, which I hear has a lot of older cards and a lot of old collectibles. So hopefully we'll be a little more lucky there in getting more cards.
If there's at least one card, it's worth, right?
We'd have to visit 151 stores.
Like when we get to the very end, there's like the last 5, it's gonna be impossible.
If every card store only has 1 card, and they have their 1 card is a card we already have.
We'd have to visit like, I don't know, 1,000 stores.
Do you think there's 1,000 card stores in America?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so we're fine. We're fine.
So we arrived at Tease. They had all kinds of collectibles, toys, tons of old cards, and even retro video game. When we started to check the card section, we saw some base set packs, so we knew we were in the right place.
So they got Poliwrath we already have, but I see over there they have Clefable, they've got a Muck, got a Hitmonchan. We got a few things we can get here, but we're gonna ask to see if they have like a box with more commons and uncommons because we still have a lot of those that we need.
And when we asked if they had more cards in the back, they had a ton of cards.
Mewtwo's a cool one to get. Like this Nidoking's in really rough shape. Well, maybe we can get a good deal on it. This is base set 2. Can you pull out one of the Pidgeots from the base set 2, this one over here?
There are 3 different cards.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
This makes it more complicated.
Yeah, because there's too many cards here now.
You do want to just get all of them?
No. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna limit 5 cards per store. That's the whole point of the challenge, that we want to travel around and see as many stores as we can. Otherwise, it'd be too easy.
Okay.
I think I might just go with these.
These 5? I do like that.
Yeah, it's a good mix, good spread here. Picked up 5 more cards to add to the binder. They had a few cards. They were all big bangers. That Blastoise, Venusaur, all of these cards, they're all foils, so they're really nice cards to add to the collection.
Now, why did you choose these 5 particularly?
So I think some of the more expensive cards are actually gonna be easier to get later. Like, I feel like Blastoise, Venusaur, and Charizard are gonna be cards that everybody has because like they're the most popular Pokemon. So stuff like Victory Bell or Muck might be a little harder to pick up, so that's why I decided to get.
So we put the cards in the binder, bringing us up to a total of 9 out of 151 Pokemon cards.
We're heading to Time Twister next.
I don't think it's called that anymore. It's Cardex Games.
Cardex Games. Yeah, we're driving to Cardex Cards. We saw a sign for something that says Pokemon. We're gonna hope that they have vintage Pokemon cards is what we're looking for.
You see, it's not about the cards we buy or the cards we find. It's like, oh God.
It's about the journey of getting the...
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't talk today. So you see here, it says, looks like just baseball cards, buy, sell, grade, which is a pretty generic thing. But on the other side,
it says Pokemon.
And I just noticed that big word Pokemon there right on the wall. And we were just driving by and I just saw Pokemon. I'm just like, hi.
We noticed that only about 3% of you are subscribed, so...
Why don't you hit that subscribe button? We're probably gonna keep more on this journey. You wanna see part 2, because we're not gonna finish it all today.
So this is AA Mint Cards. This was one of the nicest shops we had ever been to. It was super organized, had a ton of selection, and even had a Pokemon vending machine. But all this flashy stuff doesn't matter if they don't have vintage Pokemon cards, so let's see what we can find.
Gonna take Japanese cards too or no?
No Japanese cards, only English. So this is definitely gonna meet our goal here. Oh yeah.
Oh my god, there's so much.
There's so much, like every card that I pull out of here is basically
Look at
good.
all this other stuff. And look
Yeah.
how organized it is. I love it.
Because there's so many cards here, we have to actually decide what we want. So it seems like a lot of the stores that we've gone to have had better luck having like the more expensive cards. So I think because they have so much selection here, I'm actually gonna end up picking up some of the lower end stuff, because that might be the stuff that is a little harder to pick up. So here's an example of somewhere we can make a mistake. Both base set and Fossil has a Zapdos. So because we're doing the original artwork in this situation would be this one, not this one. So
This one is in base set too. You're okay with the printing being different?
yeah, as long as it's a WotC original artwork printing. I want to see if I can find the Pikachu here. But my wife's favorite Pokemon is Pikachu, so.
That's the wrong.
Pikachu, but the wrong one. So it seems like we're not going to be able to get that Pikachu here. There's no dark types. Let's do a grass. All right, I'll pick up Nidoqueen. All right, so this is where we're going to go with. We're going to go with the Nidoqueen, the Koffing, the Seadra, the Magnemite, and the Goldie. All right, let's go get ringed up and we'll add them to the binder.
So we ended up picking up 5 cards at the stop, giving us a total of 14 out of 151 Pokemon cards.
So this is a cool store.
Honestly, really impressed. Like
Yeah.
a lot of card stores should use this as their standard because like everything was just so neat and like comfortable.
This is also a really expensive store.
But you can justify the price by making it neat and organized. You can raise your prices and like you can justify it.
Having a nicer store is a better
Publix
experience.
Is more expensive than Walmart.
Oh, it's true.
It's a pleasure. Shopping is a pleasure.
Oh.
Walmart is just like, man, you here because you broke.
I like Walmart. Yeah, we broke.
Now, let's head over to where we originally intended to go, Cardex Cards. Cardex Cards is a smaller store owned by one of my friends, Oscar. He had a great selection of Magic and modern Pokemon cards, but he didn't seem to have too much vintage Pokemon. Luckily, I spotted some in the glass case.
Can we pull out the Selectabuzz and then the Jolteon?
And then you wanted the Vileplume too?
Oh yeah, the Vileplume right there. Be English, yeah.
3 more great cards to add to the binder, totaling us to 17 out of 151 Pokemon cards.
It's been kind of hard to get some of these cards. The owner of this particular store was telling us a lot of people really like the set because especially people our age are nostalgic for the set. So as soon as it comes into the store, it sells out instantly.
Why are we doing this collection?
It's for the same reason, because we're also nostalgic for the set. We started playing during base set. We were around during Pokemon Mania.
There was a small period of like 2 or 3 years where like everyone knew about it. So even if, you know, you weren't really into it, you'd still know what it is. It's kind of surreal. It was like a cultural phenomenon. By us buying these things, kind of makes us like remind us of those nicer times when we didn't have bills.
Next, we headed to a store we had gone in the past, Family Cards and Games.
We're just in the middle of a parking lot, just recording the sky.
I'm getting the establishing shot. Do you know what the establishing shot does, Gabe?
No idea. What does it do?
It lets us know where we are.
This was a bigger store with a wider selection of different cards, merch, and snacks. But unfortunately, when we asked, they had no vintage cards in stock. So unfortunately, this stop was a miss.
We had our first miss. We've been doing pretty good so far because we've been hitting every, even like MBM where we only got like 2 or 3 cards, but this store had nothing. It had like 1 Alakazam, but it was in Japanese, so unfortunately that's not gonna be good for the challenge. It's getting harder. I thought this was gonna be really easy, but I guess with the recent Pokemon craze, it's becoming pretty hard to get Pokemon.
All right, so it's day 2 of the Pokedex challenge. We're gonna hit a couple of more stops today because we were trying to do it all in one day, but we didn't get enough cards. So today we're visiting Mad Cards here in Davie. Never been here before. Let's see what they got. They had a really big selection of Pokemon cards here, including a vintage binder full of old cards. Unfortunately, none of them fit the criteria we were looking for, so the store owner directed us at this mountain of unsorted Pokemon cards.
See, this one is obviously really old. That's probably a good sign.
Let's find out.
Wait, these are Magic cards.
Well, you were right, because technically Magic is older than Pokemon, right?
These are modern Magic cards.
We got really excited because we thought we found a bunch of cards, but unfortunately these are all
XY.
XY evolutions.
So I was just pulling through this and I just randomly saw this one card.
Now I feel bad that I haven't been looking through that good.
But that's so much
gotta
work.
say true.
Like it's literally like random. Like that's like the only one. So that's completely lucky. Wow. Getting desperate here. We're just checking all these binders as they're open. So
Some of them had cards in them, so we're a little optimistic, but we've been through this whole table. It's a lot of cards here. So far, only 1.
All right, so after probably like what, 30 minutes you'd say?
I think so.
Probably like 30 minutes of looking through all of that bulk.
We were only able to find 1 card, and we left the binder in there.
We recovered the binder.
We were only able to get 1 card, and that 1 card was the Sandshrew, which Gabe found completely like lucky. I mean, like this thing was like literally in the middle of a bunch of modern cards, because that whole thing was like a tower of modern cards, and we only found one card. They did have that other binder when you were in the restroom that had like a bunch of really cool vintage cards, but nothing quite old enough for us.
So we added the Sandshrew to the binder, bringing us up to 18 out of 151 cards.
All right, so we're at our next stop, Koolie cards. The store owner did tell me that on Sundays, they had a guy that brings vintage cards and sells them.
You're hoping he's here?
I'm hoping he's here.
These are the only EVs we're looking for. This one, this one, this one, or this one. Actually, I think we already had this one.
Not this one?
No, that's the two new.
Too new, oh.
Yeah, it came out in 2001.
Yeah, but this was $2,000. I want this one.
Shut up.
This store was very nice. They had a great selection of newer cards, sealed product, and of course, vintage cards.
So they got some boxes here, so.
Okay, so this is completely random. So I think we're actually gonna take the time to go through these.
Guess I'll do the same.
That's one. Hey, look at this though. It's a base set one.
So if they have base set energies, that means that we must be close, right?
I mean, that's a good sign. This is pretty old.
Yeah, but not quite old enough.
No, but I mean, that's on the right track, so.
Eradicate.
Nice.
Paris.
Oh, here we go.
We're on a roll here. Cedra.
Ponyta.
Bonita, yeah, put them all down. All right, so they actually did have a good amount of cards here. They had Butterfree, Eradicate, Venonat, Ponyta, and Paris. They actually had way more, but you know, we do have the limit of 5 per store, so these are the 5 we're gonna get. They actually have some cool cards in the glass case. We're gonna actually trade one of these out for a foil, so let's actually go ahead and take a look and see what they have. The Nido King, actually. 17 bucks, it's pretty good. We're doing a little challenge. We're trying to collect all the original cards, but I can only buy 5 at each store. So I'm gonna let you pick which one I shouldn't take so that I can buy the Nido King. Which one of these should I leave behind?
So probably the easiest one that you will find anywhere will be the Ponyta.
Okay, that's really good logic. So
Okay,
yeah,
I like
so
that.
we'll
go
go
with
for
these.
those 5.
We added the card to the binder, bringing us up to 23 out of 151 Pokemon cards.
All right, so we picked up 5 cards. They had actually a lot of foils. Some of them were overpriced, but that Nido King was actually well priced.
Yeah, that's why we picked that one up. We figured we're gonna do like the Charizard probably at the very end because like I feel like Charizard is gonna be everywhere because everyone wants to sell their Charizard. So we'll just leave it at the end when it's easier. Because if we get it now, it's just like, man, I'm only missing a Graveler. I can't find a Graveler.
Our next stop was Proplay Games, down in the heart of Miami.
Do you know that Proplay Games hosts the official tournament for Dragon Ball Z?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, this little place right here in the middle of a plaza hosts the Dragon Ball Z tournaments.
Do you think they also do tutoring on the side for how to play Dragon Ball Z?
Maybe.
That's a stupid joke.
This is a store known for having tons of big tournaments, but let's see if their card selection is as big as their tournaments.
So this store, because it's like a pretty big store, they have a computer system where you type the cards that you want, you can order it, and I guess they'll bring it out to you all at once. However, just typing in Pokemon and sorting it's not working. So you literally have to type in the name of the Pokemon one by one, and then find the card, and then add it to cart. So this could take a while. Name another Pokemon that you think they might have.
Shelder.
Shelder.
That's like a really common card. Like everyone has Shelder.
So they have Shelders, but not the one we need.
3 hours later.
All right, so since Gabriel was a little better at typing than I am, finish it off for us. We ended up with Charmander, Staryu, Rattata, and the both Nidoran.
We want to get a damaged card. I think let's try a little bit hard. Damage is too bad. I understand we're not going a condition, but I don't. What is this? Oh, I had it in my pocket.
All right. So let's take out those damage ones here.
1 eternity later.
All right, so after some extensive research, we replaced some of the damage cards. So it looks like now we're going with Staryu, Nidoran, Grimer, and Ammonite. All right, you feel better about those?
Yes.
All right, so we got the cards back. We got the Amistar and Ammonite. All right. Staryu, Grimer, Nidoran, and Nidoran. It's cool that they actually had like a lot of cards. It was just really annoying how we had to type in one by one.
Yeah, it would have been nice if we could just search by the set. Maybe there was a way to do it. We're just too stupid.
It's possible.
After putting the cards in the binder, it brought us up to 28 out of 151 cards.
So we're at the last stop of the video. This is Nowhere Games. We're not sure if they have Pokemon cards. We're gonna hope. We do know that they sell sealed Pokemon product, but the question is, will they have vintage Pokemon product? What do you think, Gabe?
Either does or it doesn't. So technically it's 50%.
50-50. I like those odds.
This was a store that focused primarily on tournament play, but it was awesome.
So when you're here playing with other people, you can have your kids, coloring.
It's cool that the shop actually has a little area here for your kids to color. And look, they even have these little like train on patches.
To our surprise, there was a table full of Pokemon cards, so we got to work.
I think it's time for another time lapse.
We found tons of cards in these boxes, but there was a small problem.
We found quite a bit of them actually. The only issue that we're having is that a lot of them are kind of in a little bit of a rough condition. So we're trying to see if we can find upgrades. So Gabe's gonna examine them now. We actually have so many options, but the condition was so bad that Gabe said one more box. And this box over here, they actually had some better condition ones, so it shows what we got.
Side on this nice Eevee.
Eevee.
Oddish and Gloom to finish the family.
Okay.
And Meowth and Persian for a new family.
Perfect. Yeah, they look good. Let's go bring them up.
We added these final 5 cards to the binder, bringing us up to a grand total of 33 out of 151 Pokemon cards. This was a great start, but we still have 118 more Pokemon cards to find, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. We're looking for cities with tons of card shops, so let us know in the comment section down below if your town has a lot of card shops. Hey, it might just be our next stop. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Click this video right here for more awesome Pokemon content. YouTube thinks you'll like it, and so do we.